motivated do you really think Kobe Bryant would have been if it wasn't for the Boston Celtics?
Warm the floor. It is the end of a 22-year odyssey.
Obviously, we all know that he was chasing his 6 championships so that he could tie Michael Jordan. But if it wasn't for the fact that under his watch that they had this rivalry about which team would have the most championships, and the Celtics were obviously the big haters of the Lakers, you saw Kobe Bryant super motivated to get his championships later in his career because he couldn't have the Celtics have a one-up on him. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that two opposite sides naturally sharpen each other. And we see this all over society. And there's one specific area in our country right now where we're failing big time for two sides to be kind of equally yoked so that they could compete with each other and we could get a great rivalry. I'll get to that in a moment. Think about Ronaldo and Messi in La Liga soccer. This is the greatest rivalry, I believe, between two players and two teams in one league in one country that's ever existed, especially in soccer. And you had Ronaldo and Messi, two completely different types of players. There'll be a GOAT conversation forever that'll go on about those two players. I happen to be a Ronaldo person, but that's not the purpose for this story. The purpose for this video is to show that without Messi, Ronaldo wouldn't have been looking over his shoulder as much, and he probably wouldn't have performed at his best. Without Ronaldo, Messi, same thing, wouldn't have probably performed at the highest level that he needed to, and that obviously continues on with these two players, and you see it all over the place. I grew up in Los Angeles, and so I had a big East Coast, West Coast rivalry. Being born in '82, I saw a West Coast, East Coast hip-hop fight between Tupac and Biggie and all those things. And sorry to digress with gangster rap, but that period of time with music, it was so sharp, and these people were sharpening one another because they were rivals, they were opposing sides, but it kept them honest and it kept them professional and it kept them at their best with their competition. Being in Los Angeles, I saw USC and UCLA, and you see the girls basketball program right now. USC takes both games in the season, and then you got UCLA winning the Big Ten championship, and that goes back and forth, and they fight for the #1 seed. And there's crosstown rivalries all over the place. You see it in sports, you see it in music. Heck, you see it in comic books. You had Superman come out in April of 1938, and it was Batman 1 year later, March of 1939, and the two biggest superheroes, the two most expensive comic books of all time that have yielded the Marvel and DC battle that's gone back and forth. And you even see that in the box office with Marvel and DC and which one do you like more. But what it does is it keeps them sharp. It keeps them professional. It keeps them achieving their best. And where in society are we seeing right now where this is not happening? Politics. You see, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party has gone through a lot of evolution. If you study American history, there's been a lot of chapters in the battles between Republicans and Democrats. And some people like a two-party system, and some people think we should be more like Europe and have 6, 7, 8, 9 parties. And I think that sometimes that having those two parties competing with one another keeps each other sharp. And if you're a fan of the Democrats and you see the Democrats winning, then you'll obviously be gloating to the Republicans and you'll feel great about yourself. I remember when I was in 5th grade in the 1992 election when Bill Clinton had won, and I was a conservative and still am a conservative, and I would be voting on that side. And I'll never forget this girl in my class named Christine, and we would battle in class, and we were 10 years old, and I'm listening to Rush Limbaugh, and I'm a Rush Limbaugh baby, and I'm so fired up for the election. And I remember it was George Bush was going for re-election at the time, George Bush Sr., and she said, no, Bill Clinton's going to win. And then when we went into class the next day and Bill Clinton had won, I still remember the pain in my stomach when she said, ha ha, told you. And I was like, I was so upset inside. I was so frustrated. And I couldn't say that I had a great grasp of the issues when I was 10 years old. Heck, I don't even know if I really knew the state of the country at that time, but you kind of root for or you follow whoever your parents are talking about or whatever you see in your household or your school or whatever you're watching on your phone. And so for me, I fell in love with politics early on. And it really bothered me when the left would get an edge, and then I would get really excited when the right would get an edge. And it's been this battle forever. Just like I love sports, just like I love music, just like I love comic books, just like I love all these different rivalries. I'm watching the Democrats right now, and it saddens me. And it truly saddens me. There's no sarcasm coming. There's no shock coming, because here's the thing. I'm very excited that Donald Trump became reelected. I'm very excited that Donald Trump is our president. Heck, I think he won 3 elections, but we'll just leave it at the 2 in the 2 of the last 3 that he got, and we'll just concede that Joe Biden won that election and be fine. It is what it is. The ball fell that way. Fine. But as I'm watching what's taking place right now, here's something that's really important, and that even if you voted for the right, and even if you're excited about Donald Trump, it's not good for anybody in the United States of America that the Democrats are so lost with leadership, that they're so lost with direction, that they're just a party of speaking negatively about one party without having any new ideas, any fresh ideas. You have Gavin Newsom going out there and rebranding himself, which is, I guess, good for his future potentially, and he's the governor of California. But that's not helping the party. You know, you have individuals like Kamala and her VP running mate are kind of throwing jabs at one another. And of course, when you lose an election that you believe that you were going to win, you have to start throwing blame. And that's normal. And we're human beings. And I get it. But the Democrat Party needs to be stronger to keep the Republicans in check. And I know that we like to think, and I know I have Republican friends, and they're going to say, what are you talking about? Why are you saying those things? Let's just go do whatever we want. No. I don't believe in that. I believe that even if you're a great athlete like Kobe Bryant, it's the Celtics that keeps you on point and making sure that you're at your best. And we need to make sure that both political parties are at their best. In a two-party system, what we need as Americans is we need one party to be awesome, another party to be awesome, and the most awesome ideas wins. And that's what we need. And that keeps each other sharp, because I believe if any party had free reign and got to do whatever they wanted, even if they had good intentions, even if their heart was in the right place, that they would kind of veer off course because nobody's keeping them on check. See, right now, we don't even know who's leading the Democrat Party, let alone who's going to run in the next 4 years. We know Donald Trump can't run for re-election at this stage right now, as this video is being recorded based off the current rules. But that's not good for our country if we don't have a stronger Democrat Party. As much as it pains me, and as much as I love seeing Donald Trump win all 7 swing states, as much as I love seeing 89% of our counties become more right, because I believe in that position. I believe that the ideas on the right are way better than the ideas coming out on the left. I don't even know the ideas coming out on the left. It's even hard to debate these ideas. Sometimes when you take the positions that the left currently has right now, and you think we're going to have a real debate, I don't even know what we're talking about. It seems so archaic. It seems like they're holding on to these ideals of their extreme part of their party, and it's really pushing out all the people in the middle of their party. And so I'm all about freedom of speech. And if you've got an idea that's weird, or you have an idea that's way out there, you have the right to express yourself. You do. You have a right to express yourself. But if you're in a political party who's representing half of the country, or 45% of the country, then you need to start coming up with ideas that solves Americans' problems today. And that means that you need to listen to Americans. And when I watch the Democrat Party right now, not only am I sad for them, because it's not fun to beat up on somebody that's not winning, or that's not strong. It would be like the Lakers beating on the Celtics when they're powerless, or the Celtics beating on the Lakers if they're powerless. Nobody wants to watch a matchup like that. You wouldn't want to watch Real Madrid and Barcelona if one team was so much better than the other team. You wouldn't even want to watch it. You wouldn't have listened to that Tupac Biggie matchup in the 90s. You wouldn't care about USC or UCLA or Auburn, Alabama, or all the great rivalries that we have in the country if it's so lopsided. It's really fun when you watch Ohio State and Michigan, which I think is the greatest rivalry in college sports. You've got Ohio State with a national championship last year, Michigan with a national championship 2 years ago, and I can't stand Michigan, and I love Ohio State. And yes, that's a secret about me, is that my family is an Ohio family. Although I went to USC and I'm now a proud Trojan, fight on Trojans, I love watching Ohio State win the championship. But what makes that rivalry so great, and why so many people go to this matchup, why Ohio State the shoe and Michigan the big house, why there's so many people that go to those games, and why they're so watched, and why everybody wants to talk about it, is because traditionally both are fielding very competitive teams. And there's been stretches where Ohio State won forever, and there's stretches where Michigan won a lot too, and it's not fun during that time. So getting back to politics, here's what needs to take place. believe it or not, even those that are on the right, we need to see the Democrats rise up a little bit more. We need to see better leadership, better ideas, more listening, kind of let go of the past and rebrand yourself a little bit and move forward. But you can't just sit there and have your sit on your hands during the president's State of the Union speech, because it's terrible. It's terrible for our country. It's terrible for competition. It's terrible to keep the Republicans on track, because as much as I'm excited right now with everything that's taking place with the Republicans, and I really do believe that the next 4 years is the golden age of our country, and I hope and I pray for Donald Trump. I hope and I pray for all the leaders in Congress, in the Senate, in the House. I pray for the next candidates that are going to run for president, but we need a better Democrat Party in order to keep the Republicans on check as well.